Sorry about that, it's Big Baz here. I've got a succulent new video for you today, and with it we're going to be talking about the Loupdeck Plus controller. This thing's been out for a while. I've had it personally for 2 years. It's marketed as a photo and video controller. This is going to focus strictly on the photo side of things. Is it still worth it today? And I'm also going to share with you the main advantage, and it may not be quite what you expect. But first, let's talk about what it basically is. So you've got a range of tactile knobs which all twist and press, which allow you to take control of things like exposure, contrast, saturation, white balance, and all of your basic settings. You've then got buttons and keys which are labelled for shortcuts like rating, arrows, undo, things like that, and a complete HSL control panel with pressable wheels, one for each colour. So that's a quick breakdown of what's on the panel itself, but is it actually any good? Let's go with the worst points first. The number one thing which disappointed me a little bit when this first arrived was the build quality. I was expecting a Maserati based on the beautiful 3D renders. It was looking absolutely peng on the website, matte finish, rubberized controls, and in reality it's a little bit on the clunky side. It feels a bit plasticky. So I would have preferred a more timeless and kind of quality build. The second thing, we're in 2020, especially if you have a beautiful slim iMac on your desk with a tiny little magic mouse and keyboard. It's all wireless, and then this clunky thing comes along with a USB. I would prefer it to be wireless, for sure. Number three is the price tag. This is going to set you back some serious cashola. We're talking 215 Great British pounds, which is approximately 280 USD. It's quite expensive. I would have liked to seen it about 20% cheaper potentially, but I did pay full price for it, so who's the real mug here? Enough of that nonsense. Let's talk about what makes this a bit of an editing beast, which is what it is essentially. I have two main advantages for you, which doesn't sound like a lot, but basically that covers your whole editing process. Number one, and the one that everybody talks about, is the speed. This is not going to speed up your editing process right out of the box. However, once you get used to it, it does become more and more natural. And the fact that you have access to all of the different settings without having to scroll past the different sliders on Lightroom, it does make it a lot quicker. There's also a few cheeky tricks up the Loupedeck sleeve, including the ability to press any of the knobs or wheels to reset a setting instantly. As well as that, the cherry on top is that the Loupedeck is entirely customizable, so you can actually program any shortcut or any setting exactly where you want it. You can also adjust multiple knobs and multiple settings pretty much simultaneously, which once you get used to it, does improve your speed and efficiency. I wouldn't expect anything groundbreaking. This isn't going to halve your editing time, but it is significant gains, and if you're a freelancer or self-employed, you know that time is of the essence. Any time saved is worth a lot, so in that sense, yes, it will speed up your workflow. The second point, and absolutely my favourite feature of the Loupedeck, is I feel like it honestly unleashes your creative freedom. With the tactile controls, you're no longer restricted by the numbers and the kind of sliders on Lightroom. You're no longer panicking when you get to like 50 or 60 contrast that you're overcooking it. The editing is far more driven by aesthetics. It's much more intuitive, and there is just so much more freedom for you to make the image look what you want it to look like, rather than go off certain settings that you know work well. I feel like this feature is especially useful for the professionals where the numbers can become a little bit restrictive. Once you've learnt the rules, this really allows to take off those restrictions, break the rules that you've been learning for years and years, and unleash that creative freedom. I think this is something that I haven't heard many people talk about, but it's a fantastic feature that people should definitely keep in mind, and I would say my favourite thing about the Loupedeck. Bob on. So the third thing, and I think this is what makes Loupedeck Plus much better for me in comparison to other controllers, is how comprehensive it is in terms of easy access to all of the settings. So there's a lot of controllers out there that are much smaller, much more compact, or potentially modular. But the problem I find with those is you only have access to 5 or 6 of your favorite or kind of most commonly used settings. And that's all well and good, but the moment you want to use something else, you have to revert to the classic keyboard and mouse solution. That to me makes the controllers a little bit futile. What's the point of having them in the first place if I'm going to be jumping between the keyboard and the controller. With the Loupedeck, you've pretty much got everything on here. If you want to make any local brush adjustments or gradient filters, then yes, you do have to go back to the mouse. But other than that, even cropping and rotating you can do from within the Loupedeck, which I find really convenient, especially when doing things like weddings. So to wrap things up and answer that question of, is this still relevant in 2020? I would definitely say yes. The main question is, do you have £215 lying around to invest in what is not an essential tool, but definitely a pretty cool creative addition to your editing station? The speed argument alone wouldn't be enough to persuade me, but the creative freedom argument, that has been a real unexpected advantage and has helped me so much, especially when it comes to photographs that maybe I'm a bit stuck on. It's given me like a fresh look, and I've really enjoyed using it for that reason. So is it an essential accessory? No. Does it look like a DJ deck and can you pretend to DJ on it? Would I recommend for you to buy it? Yes, but only if you do have that £215 lying about and you're wondering what to do with it. That about wraps it up for the Loupedeck. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Give us a like if you've enjoyed this video, and maybe even a subscribe if you'd like to see more of my face and Sal too. We'll be seeing you in the next video. I look forward to it. Bye.